Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Obviously, one of the big questions around the New Orleans Saints right now is the future and not having a first-round draft pick. Perhaps they will get a first-round draft pick if Sean Payton coaches again, and the Saints could recoup assets. That would be wonderful if they're able to do that. If not, you deal the hand, or you play with the hand you're dealt right now, and that is that the Saints' first pick in this coming spring's draft is going to be the 43rd pick overall. It'll be their second-round pick, number 43 overall, which, let me rephrase, that's where it will be slotted based on record projections of where they're projected to finish right now. So it could be higher. If Saints lose out, it could be higher. DraftWire, which is part of the USA Today network, did a full 2-round mock draft, which they published on Thanksgiving. They had Bryce Young going number 1 overall, to Houston. C.J. Stroud going 2 to Carolina. Of note, how about this? This really surprised me. Anthony Richardson, 6 overall to Detroit. I completely understand the infatuation with the talent, like with the skill set. Big dude, strong arm, super athletic, the backflips on the field. I get it, dude. We saw it. He ran for a 75-yard touchdown against LSU where he made grown dudes look like children. I mean, I get the infatuation with the talent, but Anthony Richardson has been bad this year. Like, he has been a bad football player at Florida. So anyway, that would stun me, but we're all thinking in terms of Saints draft, we're all thinking quarterback. Like, they've got to take a quarterback somewhere. And you hope that it's the Jalen Hurts scenario. If you take a quarterback in the second round, you hit on the guy that just slipped a bit. I mean, I'll remind you, Lamar Jackson was the last pick of round 1. He won an MVP. So you can find, Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Kirk Cousins was a 4th-round pick. You can find starting quarterbacks outside of round 1 in the draft. It happens. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. So you can find those guys. So the Saints, if they're sitting there somewhere around 43 or wherever it is in round 2, will probably be looking quarterback. It'll certainly be high on the list, but listen to where these quarterbacks are taken. So Bryce Young 1, C.J. Stroud 2, Anthony Richardson 6, Michael Penix from Washington, lefty, who leads the nation in passing. They have him going 14 to Indianapolis, so top half of round 1. If you're wondering, by the way, they got Apu-Ika going 21, so first-round pick. That one still sings, letting that guy get away. Kayshawn they have going with the last pick of round 1 to the Texans at 32 overall. And they got B.J. Ojulari going 63 overall, the last pick of round 2 to the Philadelphia Eagles. So that would sting. I don't think Ojulari falls to the back of round 2. I think he will be a top 40 pick. If he's not a round 1 guy, he will be within the first 10 picks, I believe, of round 2. But there are 2 quarterbacks' names that I haven't mentioned yet that they have coming off the board in round 2. And one of them is Hendon Hooker, and the other is Will Levis. Will Levis, in some circles, is considered a top 10 pick. They've got Will Levis going 48 to the Washington Commanders, which means at 43 overall, they got the Saints taking Hendon Hooker. And I think you certainly have to be leery of the knee injury. But most draft projections have had Hooker somewhere in round 2 anyway. So this is essentially saying the knee injury isn't going to hurt him in the draft. And I think a big part of that, obviously, is how players have been able to come back from these types of injuries. I mean, Joe Burrow came back from a devastating knee injury in 9 months. So, I don't think the knee injury is going to limit Hendon Hooker in this draft. And if he is on the board for the Saints to take in round 2, I think there would be a unanimous celebration of that selection among Saints fans, watchers, people who love the organization, if that option is there. But the other thing that's interesting is that Will Levis they have on the board as well. So this may be a year where everyone can sort of draw the line and say, okay, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, 1-2, 1-2, 2-1, 1-2, however you want to do it with those 2 guys, clearly the best. But if the next guys available are Richardson and Michael Penix, and you're talking about Hooker and Levis, I mean, there may be really good value for the Saints in this draft at quarterback, where even though you don't have your first-round pick, which might be flirting somewhere in the top 10, I mean, if I posed it to you, of these quarterbacks, Richardson, Penix, Hooker, Levis, which would you take? I don't know that there's anybody listening to me right now that would take Anthony Richardson first among that group. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the talent, the infatuation with the talent would win out, maybe. But, boy, that feels like such a reach when some of these other guys would be on the list. So it was interesting to see an early perspective. We're a long way to go from the draft. The draft order isn't even set yet. But the Saints are very likely going to be looking quarterback in this draft. And if this is any indication, there's going to be value for the Saints there wherever they're picking early in round 2.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.